In today's video, we'll tell you why Slim isn't fighting Salt Papi, what happened between Jake Paul and Conor McGregor, why KSI hasn't fought Jake yet, and finally if he's going to retire after the Tommy fight. The Misfits boxing promotion recently decided that Slim will face Salt Papi for the championship belt in the middleweight division. Slim has a record of 6 wins and no losses, while Papi has 3 wins and 1 defeat. The small council agreed this is the most interesting fight to make at this time.
Yeah.
His coach really said to me, he assured me that he will get to 165 and that's probably the best weight for him to fight. So I don't know, but if he does get to that weight, I think that should be a mandatory fight where Slim and him fight each other for the 165 middleweight title.
That would be amazing on the undercard of Fury versus KSI.
Salt Papi agreed to compete in the contest, but Slim did not give a positive response in the recent days. Mams Taylor informed on Twitter that Misfits had to impose a deadline for Slim as they have to move forward with organizing the fights. He followed up again on his Twitter account, making everyone aware that all of the boxes were checked for Al-Baher to sign the contract. The money was right, he was supposed to get a title shot on the biggest card of the year, and the weight suits him right. KSI, being the CEO of Misfits, also shared his thoughts on this matter. Unfortunately, Slim did not meet the deadline set by Misfits and Mams Taylor, which resulted in the need to find Salt Papi another opponent for the middleweight belt. There were rumors Slim did not accept the fight because he was not happy with the money he was offered. The rumors were confirmed with a tweet from Slim saying the only thing he ducked was the offer he was given. Mams responded he was offered way more than he brings in. The most probable opponent at this time would be Nick LeMahieu, who is coming off a win in the Survivor tag. Jake Paul and Conor McGregor started beefing on Twitter after Jake beat Diaz in his last boxing bout. Diaz was one of the toughest opponents for the Irish superstar during his UFC career. He was the first one to beat Conor in the UFC in one of the biggest fights in MMA history. Their rematch was even bigger, but McGregor was able to take the win. The history between the Stockton gangster and the Notorious has caused Conor to comment many times about Diaz's fights or actions. Jake Paul himself also dreams of a fight with Conor, even though he denied it after the fight on Saturday.
My team sent you a $50 million offer this morning. $50 million cash, proof of funds. The biggest fight offer you've ever been offered, but you're scared to fight me, Conor. Conor, you're scared. Dana, you're scared. Sign the fucking contract, you idiots.
I don't care about that guy. Yeah, he needs to go to rehab. I want Nate in MMA, I want more professional boxers, and I want Canelo.
Safe to say the Irishman was not impressed with the fight and the performance of both men. But his first comments were shot at Diaz, criticizing him for his antics in the ring. He also mentioned that Diaz could have been the UFC welterweight champion. Conor most probably recalls Nate's fight with Leon Edwards, the current 170-pound champion. In the 5th round, after getting beat up by Edwards in the previous 4, Nate fired a beautiful shot at Leon's chin, rocking him badly. Instead of finishing the fight, Nate took time to mock Edwards, which eventually let the Englishman recover and cost him the decision. Conor also mentioned the trilogy fight and promised to dismantle Nate with body shots. At the same time, he criticized Jake for his mediocre performance. He also wrote a few other tweets sharing his disgust with the boxing bout. Jake did not hold back in his response to Conor. He accused the Irishman of drug and steroid abuse, telling him to go to rehab, and took shots at his MMA losses to Nate, Dustin and Khabib. He also reminded Conor that in his fight with Floyd Mayweather, Floyd toyed with him. Jake also related to the alleged accusations of Conor's assault on a woman during the NBA Finals in one of the bathrooms. Conor later deleted all of his tweets about Jake and Nate, as he usually does. Paul did not miss his chance to comment on that fact. Jake Paul and KSI got into a heated exchange again after the Saturday fight. KSI called Jake's performance terrible and invited everyone to watch a real fight on October 14th on the Misfits Prime card. KSI will face Tommy Fury in one of the 2 main events of the card. Jake compared himself on Twitter to current and former boxing world champions and claimed he will become a champion by 2026. KSI called him delusional and listed why he thinks so. He mentioned Jake has never beaten a pro boxer in his career and laughed off the fact that Paul just boxed a 40-year-old MMA fighter. Tommy Fury beat Jake in a closely contested match few months ago, so KSI wants to show the world he's better than his rival by beating his former opponent. Jake didn't hold back in his response, calling KSI an exhibition fighter. At the same time, he claimed he would beat up KSI either in boxing or in MMA. Both men were set to fight for many years, but their clash is yet to happen. KSI also appeared on the MMA Hour in an interview with Ariel Helwani. He commented on the fight between Jake and Nate and said Paul has regressed.
I mean, I feel like he's regressed, if anything. I don't think he did very well against an opponent that Jake wasn't setting anything up. He was just surviving the 10 rounds. You know, it was low output.
KSI also repeated his comments he wrote in a tweet saying he's delusional.
Jake is quite delusional. Obviously, he said he wants to be a world champion by 2026. But I mean, after that performance, really? Like, I don't know. Are you saying he wants to fight Canelo?
JJ also spoke on the fact that the fight between him and Jake hasn't been made yet. He thinks Paul is lost after losing to Tommy, and that's the reason why he changed his whole team.
And I think that's just because, you know, after that loss against Tommy, he lost himself, and that's why he fired, you know, a lot of his team, got a new coach and everything, and just wanted to figure himself out. And then that's why with the fight against Nate, I just felt like he did worse than he did against Tommy.
After watching his bout with Nate, he's absolutely sure he would beat Jake in a boxing match and it would not be close.
If I wanted to fight Jake before, I want to 100% fight him now, because I just know I would just clear him, destroy him. Like, it wouldn't even be hard.
JJ also spoke about his fight on the Prime card against Tommy Fury. He emphasized that in a way he will show the world that he's better than Jake Paul.
Bro, I'm out here having to fight Tommy Fury to indirectly show the world that I'm better than Jake Paul. This is the levels I have to do.
But in his mind, even if he beats Tommy, people will never be satisfied and will find excuses to say he is not as good as he is.
They'll say, "Oh, I'm too scared to fight Tommy Fury. I'm not good enough to fight Tommy Fury." All right, the fight is done now. I'm fighting Tommy Fury. Now what? He's gonna lose anyway. It doesn't matter. Oh well, yeah, zero chance. I'm put all my money on Tommy Fury. I go in there, knock him out. Well, it's not a real fight anyway, whatever, Like, there'll always be an excuse.
Because he was not yet able to make the fight with Jake, he feels his bout with Tommy might be his last one. Ariel was clearly surprised and asked him how big of a possibility that is, and he responded 80%. If the public was to believe his word, we might not see the biggest fight in influence and boxing history. Surely the clash between these two social media superstars would garner a record number of viewers. Even Ariel mentioned he believes they could sell out any given stadium in the world.
I might just leave it at that, because I'm not going to go chasing this guy.
This could be your last fight?
Yeah, possibly.
How much of a reality is that?
I'd say 8%.
Wow.
KSI emphasized he is the one trying to make the fight and Jake is the one running. JJ also spoke with Ariel about making the Tommy fight happen. He said the biggest issues were the money and the weight limit. They finally settled on 183 pounds, which clearly favors Fury, but was necessary for him to sign the deal. He acknowledged there was a moment when he thought the fight will not happen due to long negotiations. He revealed he was ready to fight Jorge Masvidal if the bout with Tommy fell through.
Elsewhere, even Jorge Masvidal came on my show and raised his hand.
Yeah, I saw that, and I was like, I told Mams I'm down. Like, if Tommy's being long, I'll fight Masvidal. I'll fight someone. For me, I'm not afraid.
Masvidal spoke on the possibility of challenging KSI in an interview with Ariel and on the George Janko's podcast.
I'm not coming after KSI.
You're not coming after KSI?
No. He got brought up to me, and they said if I would fight him, it wouldn't be a fair fight. But yeah, I'd fight him for a bag of money. This is what I do and what I've done for a living, It's not that I'm planning my retirement fight coming out, or I got any ill will towards KSI or nothing like that, But if we fought, he'd no longer be with us if we got into like a boxing match. I'd take him out of existence if we got into a boxing match. That's what I do for a living, So it's not even fair.
KSI mentioned he does not care how much money he will make from this fight. He is fighting for legacy and to inspire people. In the recent hours, we've got a huge confirmation for the second main event of the Prime card. It was announced Logan Paul will indeed face Dillon Danis. The rumors in the last couple of days were favoring Danis to be the opponent of Logan, but the news are finally official. Both men have been active on social media since the announcement. Dillon posted on Twitter while Paul spoke on the fight on his podcast Impulsive. Danis did not discriminate in his attacks, targeting both Jake and Logan. He also posted an old picture of Logan's fiancée with Leonardo DiCaprio. Logan didn't hold back either and had some vile words to say about Danis.
In the co-main event, biggest event of the year, fighting Dillon Danis. You fucking scumbag motherfucker.
Dillon has a history of pulling out of fights. He did that with Logan and most recently with KSI. As it turns out, if he does pull out without a factual reason again, he will have to pay a $100,000 fine.
If he pulls out because of some sort of injury that he fakes, a doctor of our choosing has to verify the injury, and then if he is indeed faking it, he has to pay $100,000. There is a pull-out clause.
Paul is eager to fight and promises to remove Dillon from existence.
Inshallah, if he does show up, I get to be the one.
Yeah, to finish him off.
I get to be the one to take an eraser and remove him from existence. His name will never be uttered again. He'll die that night twice. Physically, and his name, his legacy, it all disappeared. Legacy. What?
If you want to stay up to date with the news from the world of freak fights and celebrity fights, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.